So this is an explanation on how we can use browser fingerprinting to be able to detect a specific browser making a request. So here we're dealing with four packet capture files. So on the top left we have Firefox on Ubuntu, Firefox on Windows, we have Chrome on Windows, and at the bottom we have Edge on Windows. And specifically we are looking at the initial GET request package. So the easiest way to probably figure out which browser is which is simply look at the user agent. Most of the time it does tell you which browser it is coming from, but there are different ways to be able to detect which browser is which. At a first glance, the one that comes to mind is going to Chrome's packet capture file. We can see that it does include a refer header, which basically indicates where this request is coming from. So for example, if the destination is http://forever.com, making the request via Chrome it'll also include a refer header, which basically tells the server that, hey, this request is coming specifically from google.com. Looking at the other header, at the other requests on the other capture files, this header does not seem to be present, which is more likely than not, I guess, a privacy feature, as these browsers probably don't want to give that type of information to the servers, even though Google Chrome does. So that's one indication of how we can detect the browser. Another is simply the priority header. Similarly to the refer header, the priority header is specifically specified in the Firefox on Windows packet capture file, and what this appears to be doing is just telling the server to give this specific request the utmost priority compared to the others. The others don't seem to include it, but I do imagine that there is a default in here. But at a quick glance, that priority header does not seem to be present in the rest of the capture files. Here's again, this one is not present as well. So that's another quick indication that we're probably on a Firefox on Windows browser. And I guess one more identifier could be just the order of the headers. So for example, if you take a closer look at the two Firefox captures, we can see that the user agent comes right after the initial host header. So it's essentially the second header in the entire HTTP request. And if you take a look at the two bottom windows, which are for Edge and Chrome, we can see that the user agent just comes in the middle of the request headers and not at the very top. So we can see that the Chrome and Edge somewhat like to keep the same order of headers, but Firefox adds its own little twist to it by adding the user agent near the top. One more indication of what browser you could be on is specifically filtering Wireshark to display just the GET requests. So as we can see at a first glance, it looks like the Firefox and Chrome captures are requesting the same amount, or making the same amount of GET requests. But then when taking a look at the Edge packet capture file, we can see that it's requesting more CSS files. So we can see that it's requesting the style CSS files, I guess. But looking at the other captures, we can see that those aren't being requested. So that could be an indication of I guess Microsoft or Edge behavior, just making these extra requests. And then also we can see here that these requests aren't necessarily made in the same order. You can see that I guess on the Firefox at least, we can see that assuming this stands for favorite icon, these are made specifically before any CSS image requests are made. But then if you take a look at the Chrome, at the Chrome and Edge, at the Edge, we can see that these requests are actually made last. So whereas CSS is given, I guess CSS is given more priority on Chrome and on Chrome and Edge systems compared to Firefox, which I guess prioritizes this favorite icon file. So that could be one more indication of which browser you are on.